Guys, we're going to work on adding and subtracting fractions, multiplying, dividing. We're just going to review some things that you already learned. Remember the rules for for adding and subtracting fractions. You need to find the lowest common denominator, rename the fractions, having the LCD, add or subtract only the numerators, leave the denominator, and then simplify. When we multiply fractions, we make the fraction improper, and this is very, very, very important. Okay, so in your notes, make sure you write that down, highlight it, whatever you need to do to remember that you need to make it improper. Okay, here we have cross cancel. That's something that is an option in class. Remember, we didn't cross cancel. We simplified, and then we went from there. But this we might take out, just because I just don't want you to get confused with dividing. Okay, multiply straight across. So you multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So you have your numerator times your numerator, and then over your denominator times your denominator. Okay, here for multiplication and division, you do adjust your denominator. Unlike adding, subtracting, you don't really mess with your denominator. Okay, when you're done, don't forget to simplify your fraction. Okay, when dividing fractions, make fractions improper. Flip the fraction on the right. Cross cancel diagonally. It's one thing we're going to take out. Multiply straight across, and then simplify. Now, guys, in class, if I see that you benefit or it is more comfortable for you to cross cancel, we might leave that as an option for you. But just remember, that's not necessary. You can just flip the second fraction. You make the second fraction its reciprocal, and then you multiply straight across. After that, you need to simplify. Okay, so here, when we find the least common denominator, the least common denominator for 3 and 4 is 12. Here, they went ahead and took 3 times 4, and they got 12. You can do that, but that is not always the case. Okay, they factored out 8 and 12 to find the least common denominator. If you know your multiples, it will work really easy. So you know that it's your factors are 8, 16, 24, and we know 12 and 24. So our lowest number that they both can go into is 24. Okay, when we're renaming fractions, having an LCD, change the fraction to have the denominator of 12. How many times does 3 go into 12? 4 times. So what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. when we renamed 2/3, we renamed it to 8 over 12. Here we had 3/4, and when we found that LCD was 12, when we renamed 3/4, 4 times 3 is 12. So what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. Okay, so now we add these fractions, but they have the same denominator, so it's really easy. You just add the numerator. You take the numerator plus the numerator, and that gives you 7 over 6, and then we have to rename that because that's an improper fraction, or simplify rather. Okay, 12 over 13 minus 6 over 13. Again, the denominator is the same, which makes it easy for us. 12 minus 6 gives us 6. And we have 6 over 13. That can't be simplified anymore. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and simplify these fractions. Press pause, and then you can come back and find the answer to each question. Okay, hopefully you press pause and you did each fraction, or simplify each fraction. The first one you would have gotten 1/2. Second one would have been 4 over 18. 3 over 24, and 2 over 3. Here, how I would simplify that, 6 can go into both of those. 2 can go into 4 and 18, 25. And then here we have 5. Okay, here I want you to go ahead and practice these fractions. Make sure you have an LCD. And don't forget your integer rules. Remember here, if you look at your foldable, when you're subtracting, or when you're adding different signs, you subtract and keep the sign of the greater number. Okay, here we need to make our fractions improper because we're multiplying them. You take the top number, you multiply the denominator by the whole number, then add that to the numerator. Put the numerator over the denominator. So in this case here, you would take 1 times 2. Let me grab a pen. 1 times 2, which is 2, and then you add 1. So this would turn into 3 over 2. Okay, the next one, 2 times 5, which is 10 plus 4, and that gives me 24 over, 2 times 5 is 10 plus 4, that gives me 14 over 5. I was just checking to see if you were paying attention. Okay, and our last one, 9 times 3. We have 27. We add 1, and we get 28. 28 over 3. Okay, so remember when you're multiplying and dividing, you have to make your fractions improper. This is the cross canceling. Here, 3 and 3, they cancel to 1 over 1, 2 and 4. 2 goes into 2 once, 4 goes into 4 twice. Okay, so yes, that is an option, but we'll work in class to make sure you are comfortable with it. But remember, it's not necessary. It just makes your numbers a lot smaller. Okay, then you go ahead and you multiply straight across. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 11 is 44. Can I simplify this? No, nothing goes into both of them evenly. There's my answer. Now, here, this is division. We have 1/7 divided by 5/8. You take the second fraction and you make it the reciprocal of the original fraction. That means you take this fraction and you flip it. Instead of 5 over 8, now you have 8 over 5. Okay, now I can go ahead and multiply straight across. Okay, here 2 is just like having 2 over 1. What's the reciprocal of 2 over 1? 1 over 2. Okay, so here you need to go ahead and practice. Press pause, and then I want you to check your answers to see if they match mine. Okay, hopefully you press pause and you completed these problems. 5 times 2 is 10. 8 times 5 is 56. Now I need to simplify these. What can go into both of these numbers evenly? Well, let's start off with 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, 56 divided by 2 is 20. Let's see, 56 divided by 2. Okay, guys, don't forget, show your work. Great. Now you have 28. But is there a number that can go into both of those? No. So my answer is 5 over 28. Okay, my next one, I take the second fraction and I flip it. I have 7 over 9 and 3 over 1, but I multiply now. 7 times 3 is 21 over 9. Okay, then you need to go ahead and divide. One thing you can do, if I divide 21 divided by 9, remember I need to show my work. 2, 18, and that gives me 3 over 9, which simplifies to 1/3. So my answer would be 1 2/3. So let's see if I cross cancel. Get a different color. 3 can go into 3 once. 3 can go into 9 3 times. Okay, so now if I multiply 3 times 1 is 7. 7 times 1 is 7, sorry. And 3 times 1 is 3. Now let's simplify that. It goes in there twice. When I subtract 1/3. So as you can see, we came up with the same answer, but we had smaller numbers. So the diagonal cross canceling does work, but I don't want you to stress out about that until you understand this concept, or until you've gotten this concept down. Okay, thanks guys, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.